shut up and start the show.
I don't think we'll have too much trouble shutting up completely today because my good friend D. Nimmin is a little under the weather, so we're going to be toned back on that side of the screen. D, how you feeling today outside of a little bit of a cold and flu?
Normally I would say great, Daniel. How you doing? But yeah, I'm doing about 90% today.
All right. Okay.
No
we won't lean on you too heavy. Listen, I need you to stay healthy because you are a subscriber to my channel and I don't want to lose another subscriber. Okay. I'm just going to throw that out there. Please take care of yourself. People in the chat, it's good to see you. I appreciate you guys all being here today. Let me take a peek who we have here today. The great Andrew Can, always here to make sure that we've got the chat rolling smoothly. I can see Ike is out there. Rob Balasab, it's good to see you, my friend. So D, today we're talking about losing subscribers. I think this is something that every creator always wonders about. Like if they look at they're always paying attention to subscribers and how many they have, how many they're gaining, how many they're losing. And it's one of those things that I think creators get really fixated on because it's we all think that that's the bar, right? Like when people say like, how big is your channel? Well, how many subscribers do you have? As if that's the metric, that's the golden achievement. Almost like if you were a recording artist, like how many albums did you sell, right? That's the thing. So, but let me ask you quickly, D, do subscribers even matter?
That's a great question, and it matters to some degree. It depends on what you're doing. We're going to get into that because it does unlock a whole bunch of features within YouTube. So in that sense, it does matter. But does it matter in terms of how your channel grows? Yeah, a little bit. We're going to talk about that today.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's dive right in. One of the things that I've talked to a lot of people about right from the beginning, thinking about, do subscribers matter? I think in a very generic sense that you have to understand that when someone is watching your video and YouTube is trying to figure out what to serve that viewer next, there are things beyond just watching the video that help send traffic signals. Now, there's things like, did they, how long did they watch your video? What did they go to watch next? Did they like your video? Did they leave a comment on your video? Did they share your video? One of the things that can happen in that process is, did they subscribe to your channel while watching one of your videos? So in a certain sense, it is a traffic metric that lets YouTube know this viewer who may have watched your entire video and subscribed might have enjoyed or been more, I shouldn't say enjoyed, the term that YouTube really goes with is satisfied. They were satisfied, more satisfied with your video because the viewer sent those traffic signals than maybe someone who watched 10 seconds, clicked away, didn't subscribe, walked away from it and went, I'm not into this thing. So I do say right from the beginning, when people say like, do subscribers matters? Do they not matter? In terms of the physical numbers, and the impact they have on is YouTube looking at those things. I do think that it's important in the sense that YouTube does look at it in at least in a small portion as an engagement metric and the satisfaction of that viewer.
Yeah, and I mean, it's that positive signal as well. So when somebody does anything and they interact with your channel, that's a signal to YouTube. And there's a good chance that the more positive signals they give YouTube, that you might end up in their home feed when YouTube says, hey, check out one of their videos, check out another one of their videos because they liked or they engaged with your video in some way or fashion. So
yeah, I think that's one of the things that sometimes people don't remember is YouTube is really getting all of that recommendation and which is really suggested and browse, where YouTube might take your video and put it in front of other people. It really is all based upon, I'm getting a little signal glitch today. It's all based upon traffic data. So when you look at, did someone subscribe, that actually is something that can actually give a positive piece of traffic data that YouTube can utilize. So it's always important to think about trying to to get someone to subscribe, and it is nice to have subscribers because you build a community. They can get notifications, right? Someone who's not subscribed doesn't have a notification feature, so that one of the very obvious things, if someone subscribes to your channel, they get a notification, they can click that and go, okay, anytime he publishes or she publishes, I can click an option that says, I want to get notification every time they publish something live. So there's something that definitely would be a positive thing, I would think. But there's more things than that get unlocked from just subscribers, right? It's not just a notification bell and a number that says, oh, I gained another subscriber. What other kind of, are there other things that we should look at? Forget about just the vanity number, like, well, how many subscribers do you have? But as a creator, are there things that we go, hey, this is the benefit of having more subscribers on your channel?
Well, yeah, because the more subscribers you get to, it's like playing a game, right? The more subscribers you get on your channel, the more YouTube unlocks different features. And I know all of you who are waiting to get monetized, you're looking for 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. So that's probably, actually, that's the second most important subscriber metric, I believe. I believe the first one would be at 100 subscribers, you can claim your custom URL for your channel. Right. So you can have your own custom name. So youtube.com/Daniel Battelle. You unlock that at 100 subscribers. And at 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time, you can apply for monetization. So that's the first thing.
And when monetization is deeper than just being able to share in the AdSense revenue. There's actually some other pieces that open up at that sort of 1,000 subscriber mark that come along with that sort of. It's not, you don't necessarily have to have the be in the YouTube partner program, but hitting some of that 1,000 subscriber mark that delineates the YPP, the YouTube partner program. It does open up things like, if you do choose to be monetized, you can live stream and get things like super chats and super stickers. People can watch your live streams and they can say, hey, I'm going to throw a little money at Daniel or D because I think they're cool and I like them, and I'm gonna throw a little extra money. Or sometimes they want to be recognized in the chat and ask a question and stand out, so they'll throw a super chat. Something we don't do here on TubeBuddy. We usually don't activate any of that stuff.
I mean, you
here.
guys could throw money at D if you want.
Right, please, or cough medicine. You could. We're trying to save up for his COVID test.
The NyQuil, the NyQuil fund.
You put the night in NyQuil. Yeah, absolutely. But there's other things that happen at 1,000 subscribers that you could argue that the subscribers are important, because, like, the community tab. Community tab opens up at 1,000 subscribers, and I love my community tab.
It's so powerful.
Super powerful.
Community tab and stories, in my opinion, are two of the most powerful tools that YouTube give us. In addition to the ability to upload videos.
Well, but the part of that same thing, right? Because a lot of the people in the chat, if you haven't hit 1,000 subscribers yet, you'll see that if you look at your channel on the tabs, home, videos, playlists, you might have the discussion tab. That's usually where it starts. But they've been phasing that out. It used to be that people could kind of have like chat in there, but it's such a sort of a devalued feature now that they're really pushing towards the community tab, that once you hit 1,000 subscribers, it's more like Twitter or Facebook, where you can create a post, and that post could be, engaging your audience, your community with polls, or you could, not polls like whack them on the head, polls like POLLS, where you can ask them questions, or you can post up, videos that they may have missed, or upcoming events. A lot of times like this, I'll post my live stream saying, hey, join D Nimmin and myself in the next, in an hour, we're going to be on the TubeBuddy channel. And it's a great way to get people aware of what you might be doing. If maybe people aren't subscribed to the TubeBuddy channel, I don't know why they wouldn't be.
Everybody should be subscribed to the TubeBuddy channel.
It's crazy talk right there. But if they weren't, but they were subscribed to my channel and they wanted to make sure that they were able to catch the stream, they go, oh, perfect, Daniel posted in this community tab, I can click and catch it. So it's really, really powerful way to help engage that audience and get them interested. I use it a lot, to do things like to tease some upcoming things I'm working on, to really get some extra engagement. So if I hadn't hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, that feature's not there for me. So in that sense, that's hit a certain subscriber mark does open gates at that 1,000. So I actually think that tell me if I'm wrong here, D. Tell me what you think, but that sort of 1,000 subscriber mark is a really important one really in terms of all the different things that can potentially be opened. Yes, there's some higher tier things, but 1,000 really sort of changes quite a few features. You get access to quite a few extra things at 1,000, and not necessarily, 15 you get more, 20 you get another thing. Do you agree? Like 1,000's a great target for someone who's building a channel. Like, man, I'd like to hit 1,000 because it opens up a lot of stuff for me.
1,000's a fantastic number, and I know if you're just getting started, 1,000 seems like it's Mount Everest. Believe me, we've all been there. We understand. You are going to get there. You are going to get there. So just stay consistent, keep uploading. You are going to get there. But I want to go back to the community tab for 1 second, because one thing that I use the community tab for, in addition to everything that Daniel said, is because people are new subscribers are constantly coming onto the channel, and they don't know about your previous work. And they're asking new questions. I'm constantly getting people coming in and say, hey, how do I upload a thumbnail using my phone? Well, I've made 2 videos about that, and I don't really want to make a 3rd one right now. So I will post older videos from questions that I'm being asked a lot. I'll post those in my community feed for new subscribers who have recently joined the channel, so I can answer those questions and drive more views to older videos, which in turn, they have pinned comments and cards and end screens, which kind of starts them down an entire road of being able to watch older videos and, more momentum.
And what other, so once you hit that, I think we kind of agree on that. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a couple things that open up above that. I think, let's see, I think if you hit 10,000 subscribers, and these marks change because some of these features are floating targets where we've seen they put something out that's not available for everybody, and as they roll it out, they'll change the entry level, and we've seen them change. But I know Stories was supposed to be around 10,000 subscribers. You have YouTube Stories, which is kind of quickly go live. You can do these. What are they? Are they 60-second or 30-second?
I think Stories are 30 seconds, but I've seen channels as low as 1,000 subscribers get access to Stories, so they do test those out.
Yeah. And then also I know at about 10,000 subscribers, you start to get access. YouTube has these creator spaces that are located in major cities across, a lot of the U.S. I think they have some, they have international
all over the world.
ones.
Oh yeah. All over the world. Yeah.
And you can actually go in and you can use these creator spaces that are these beautiful sound stages. And you can actually, it's like a library. You can check out gear and go, I need to use this gear and I want to film here. And you get yourself into their schedule, and you can go in and you can use these beautiful creator spaces. I'm at that point. I've never actually been in one. I know you have, but
I have. Yeah. I've been in one with Andrew Can, actually, from TubeBuddy. We were in one in the LA YouTube creator space. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then I guess from there up, what are we talking about? 30,000 subscribers is supposed to be channel memberships, but you're a guy who I think you were up to about 70 or 80 before when that happened. But I've seen people as low now as like 3,000 subscribers getting channel memberships, which is fantastic. So that subscriber metric helps. That certainly opens up some doors there. Above that, there's like, there's a thing, YouTube does have channel partner managers that when you get above the 100,000 subscriber mark, if you're silver play button or higher, it's kind of invite only now, but you could potentially end up with a channel partner manager who, you can contact and they can, talk to you. There's someone who works for YouTube that helps you, bounce some ideas about what you could do on your channel for growth strategies. I'm above that mark. I don't have one. They've never asked me. You?
No. They don't even take my calls.
No. No YouTube here. You have wrong number.
Wrong number. Yeah.
So okay. So go ahead.
I was going to say, and you get another thing. They give out trophies. YouTube gives out play buttons. So the first one goes out at 100,000, and yours is still in the box. I love it.
I still have mine in the box because my wonderful pal Dean Imman also got one, but his is sitting in Thailand because that's where he was living with his brother and had left when the pandemic hit. And now where are you at, D? Tell him where you're at.
I'm in Mexico.
You're in Mexico. See?
Separated from my play button in a box.
And I made a promise. I said, listen, D, I won't open mine until you have yours and we'll do it together. We'll open ours together. So mark my words. If YouTube is still a platform by the time D gets to the reunited with his play button, we'll open them together and it'll be a fun thing.
Yep.
We'll make an event of it.
Yes, I'm in.
So let's think about that subscriber thing. Okay, so we know what it unlocks, and it does offer some things. So It offers. I think we agree that it does a little bit for engagement. So that's still important. It does more for the creator in my eyes than it
Yes.
does for YouTube. YouTube I don't think is looking at it a ton in terms of whether they recommend your channel more or not. But it's in there. It definitely means something. But if you let me ask you this question, D. So subscribers is a thing, right? Because it's
Right.
some people say it's just a vanity metric. If Roberto Blake was here, he'd go, dude, it's a vanity metric. There's so many things that are far more important than subscribers
And
that
he's
you
right.
shouldn't freak out about it.
And he's right. I think a lot of people, especially if they're just getting onto the platform, I think they're chasing the subscriber number instead of chasing the other metrics that really matter in terms of growth, because people want to grow their channel. And the funny thing happens is, while you focus on subscribers, you think that makes sense because you want your subscriber count to grow. But if you focus on different metrics like watch time or your click-through rate, right, or just building a community, like you focus on how to connect with an audience, focus on making better videos, becoming a better communicator. If you focus on all of the other stuff, you don't have to worry about subscribers. They will come. So I think people are focused on the wrong thing. Yeah, they do matter to a degree, but starting out, everybody focuses on those subscribers and they're forgetting about the stuff that really matters, and that's how to connect with your audience.
Okay, so if we say that they kind of matter, then can I ask the question that I get a lot from people? Should you show your subscriber count?
That's a
Because
great question.
you can hide it, right?
And I don't know why they let us hide our subscriber count. I don't know why they do that.
It is kind of an interesting thing. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
in the chat right now, anybody who's hiding, tell us a hide or not hide or unhide. Tell us in the chat what you guys do with your subscriber count. I'd like to know if anyone's hiding them or not hiding them just based on a poll. Throw that in there. I'd like to see where we're at. My personal take is if I go to a channel and they're hiding the subscriber count, I get turned off. I feel like
I do too.
they tend to be a smaller channel, and it always tends to be like they don't have like 1,000 videos. They've got maybe 10 or 15 or 20 or 30, and they're hiding. And I almost feel like you're trying to pull the wool over my. You're trying to make it seem like you're bigger than you are. Which I would be in love with you if you just. I love finding channels that are great that only have like a few hundred subscribers. I'm always like, man, your channel's great. Keep doing what you're doing. That gets me excited. But hiding them, what would you do? Would you ever hide your subscriber count?
No, I don't hide my subscriber count, and I feel the same way. I mean, I won't not subscribe to someone if they're hiding their subscriber count, but I have a moment of pause, and I wonder, why are you hiding your subscriber count? Are you ashamed of it? What are you trying to do here? Because all I have to do is look at your videos and see your view count, and it gives me a good idea of where your channel actually is.
I'm reading the chat
You're
right
not really
now.
hiding it. You're not hiding anything.
I'm looking at the chat, and I would say there are some hides, but the majority of people are saying they don't hide or they not hide. I think that's the general sense. I think just being who you are and being honest. If you're there was an old saying. It may have been Bill Belichick, one of the Patriots coaches. I'm going to call it Belichick, but it could have been Parcells, who said, when he talked about team scores, like your football team, if you're a 7-7 football team, it doesn't matter if you're the New England Patriots or the hottest team in the league. You are what you are that season. It means like you just own your numbers, own what you are, and then tomorrow's another day to try to be better than you, to do more or be more successful than you were the day before. But own who you are, and I've always lived by that same kind of idea. Like, show your subscriber count. I don't think there are some bigger channels I've heard that don't want that have said this to me. Like sometimes I will hide our subscriber count because we just want to put the information out and we don't want to be sort of overwhelmed or poo-pooed because of course you're saying that because you're that big and they're trying to make a point and they don't want that subscriber count to hurt them. But I've never really bought that argument. It's like, just say, be who you are. If you get a lot of subscribers, you get a lot of subscribers. If you have 100 subscribers, you get 100 subscribers. Doesn't mean that the things you're making aren't great or your points aren't valid.
Can I just throw something out there? Because we're talking about the features a subscriber count unlocks. And I've always thought, and I've had this conversation with other people before, but I think it would be better instead of unlocking features by subscribers is if they unlocked features by watch time.
I don't disagree.
I think that would be great, and I think that would refocus people on what actually matters, and that's getting people to watch your video longer.
I love that
ultimately-
idea.
Which
You know why
ultimately
I
is-
love, because that puts the focus on what's really important.
Exactly.
YouTube cares so, in my eyes, in terms of the actual subscriber count of the channel, cares less about that and much more about expected watch time per impression. Can your channel connect with an audience? Can it drive views? And can it drive past the view? Can it keep people watching? So I would love that too. Not a view-based thing, just watch time. How much
time.
watch time does your channel generate? And if it does pretty well, you could have 200 subscribers, but have a lot of people who watched who just didn't choose to subscribe. And
Think about what that would do in terms of reshifting people's focus on the platform. Instead of chasing a subscriber number that may or may not get them where they want to go, focusing on watch time, which is definitely going to get them where they want to go. So I think that one little change would just reshift everybody's focus, and everybody would benefit. Everybody would benefit.
all right, I'm in. You know, I'm in. If we can sell them on that, I've got your back.
But they're not taking my calls.
We've covered that. We've pretty much established that. All right, so listen, the real reason we're here, Dia, so we've talked about subscribers. Do they matter? Do they don't matter? Take all the things I guess we just talked about and make a decision on by yourself if you think, which of those things are important. So I guess we're saying to wrap that portion up and just sort of put a ribbon on that. They do matter, but probably not for the reason that a lot of people are chasing them. Just give me more subs, because subs alone isn't going to grow your channel. You really need the watch time is the thing that YouTube really values.
I always like to say with subscribers, like subs don't grow the channel, just like nails don't build a house, right? Like you can have a huge pile of nails, but they don't build your house.
Wow. Well, not that I haven't tried that, but
you need wood. You need all the other stuff, right?
Let me ask this other question then, because we're really getting into the idea of, if subscribers matter or don't matter. A lot of times, people will ask the question of, why aren't my viewers subscribing? Like they'll go into their data. And in their data, a lot of times you'll see like the view, where the views are coming from. And YouTube breaks it down very simple. How many views you got from people who are not subscribed and how many views you got from people who are subscribed. And a lot of times I'll get
on this one.
Yeah, I get a lot of questions where people will go, oh my gosh, 80% of the people watching my video are not subscribed. What am I doing wrong? Why aren't they subscribing? What advice would you have for someone who asks you that question, D?
I also get asked that question all the time. People, when they find that metric, it's a shock, right? And this is, again, do subscribers matter? Well, look at this piece of information that YouTube is giving us to tell you what percentage of your subscribers are watching your video. Daniel and I were talking before we went live. Our sweet spot in terms of channel growth is around, what was it, about 30%, I believe 30%.
Oh, yeah, only about 30% of the views coming from subscribers.
Right, about 30% of the views coming from subscribers, and that changes. Sometimes that will go down to 20%. I've had it go down to 15% of my subscribers watch my videos. So you can kind of go back and forth on that, and this is a good thing because that means YouTube is showing your content to more people who are not subscribers. If this were reversed, you might not be growing your channel. But if it is reversed the other way in terms of more non-subscribers are watching your channel, that means YouTube is putting your content out there in front of more people, and now it's your job to convert them into subscribers. Oh, look at that pretty metric.
Yeah, so this is from I just pulled this off my channel, and I actually hate how many subscribers are watching my content. And don't take that the wrong way, because what's happened here is because I've been doing so many other things, doing content on the TubeBuddy channel. G and I have been working on content for the StreamYard channel. We've been out there working on a bunch of content, but not necessarily for our own channels. What happens is that I haven't been publishing enough to get pushed out to a lot of the new people who don't know who I am. So a lot of my subscribers are coming back and watching, but the recommendations are down a bit. And I like when I see that I start getting over 30% of my views are coming from subscribers, I start to panic, because there's a glass ceiling that you can hit. And I've worked with content creators and talked about this. And what I mean by a glass ceiling is if you had say 60, 70% of your views coming from subscribers, what that means is YouTube's just putting that out to people who are already invested in your channel. It's not putting it out to somebody new, somebody who hasn't subscribed. And if it's not doing that consistently and in a large manner, your channel's not going to grow. The only way a channel can grow is if it gets put out to people who have no idea who you are. And if they don't go ahead and push it out to people who are not subscribed, then you're just going to sit there and you're going to get X amount of views, and you're going to notice that your channel tends to flatline. Like you might jump up to a certain amount of views, the certain percentage of your core audience and community watches, and then that's it. It doesn't get pushed any farther. So I'm always telling people, like, listen, don't think about it as a bunch of unsubscribed people aren't choosing to subscribe. What's really happening is that's a good thing. YouTube is pushing your content out to a whole bunch of people who have no idea who you are. And hopefully those people, you'll start getting a portion of those people to subscribe and keep growing and growing and growing, because you're always being served to an audience that's a new audience.
And that's key. You always want to be served to new audiences.
Yeah.
That's the key. Yeah.
And I've heard Roberto, when I'm mentioning Roberto, he's on my head today. Roberto was
saying it one more time, he will show up like Beetlejuice.
It's like Beetlejuice, yeah. We got to be careful.
Roberto Blake.
But he said to me, he thinks the sweet spot for him is more like an 80-20, or in general, he feels. Because it is different for different types of channels, because some channels have a more engaged community that's really going to come back for more and more and more. And some people put out content that just tends to get a lot of views, but maybe people don't always choose to subscribe. It might be trending topics or things like that maybe don't push as many. The community is different. But, that, like D and I said, for us, it's like, that's 70-30 split. 70% of the people have no idea who we are, unsubscribed. That's a sweet spot for when things are growing really well.
For our channels.
And that could be different for you. So if you look at yours and you say, I'm getting 95% of my views are coming from non-subscribers, I'd probably tell you, work on trying to get that up a bit. But really, you're probably looking to get it, 10, 15, 20%. And once you get into that 20% range, give or take, that's not a bad place to be. That's a good goal. Shoot for that 20%-ish percentage of your views coming from subscribed community members. That's a cool thing. I think you're in a good place at that point. And don't panic on either end, because smaller channels will always have more views coming from people who are not subscribed, because you're smaller. You don't have as many subscribers. So you'll always have a metric that's larger, because the majority of people out there aren't subscribed yet. You may only have 200, 300, 1,000 subscribers, and you're growing your channel. So it's not going to get served to as many subscribed people to begin with. So just try to have some perspective when it comes to that. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
All right, cool. I love it.
But look, when I first started, I panicked a little bit on that as well.
It is, and
you look at the number and you're like, oh, what am I doing wrong?
Why don't they like me?
Right. You have to reframe how you're thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this question right into the chat. We're really talking about losing subscribers today, why you're losing them, and how that impacts your channel. Let me throw a number in the chat right now. How many subscribers would you have to lose before you'd get worried? Like if you saw you lost X amount of subscribers, what would that number be? Throw a number into the chat, yell it out. I don't care if it's 2 subscribers might freak you out if you lost them, or if it's 10 subscribers, any number. What number would you go, I'm worried about how many subscribers I lost? Put that in the chat and let me get an idea, because I do think that sometimes people get their nose pressed against gaining subscribers, losing subscribers, and it can freak people out when they see a certain amount of subscribers sort of get removed from their channel. And there's a lot of reasons that happens, and we're going to talk about that. Mm-hmm. But I'd love to get an idea. We're getting numbers in here, like if someone lost 70 subscribers, they'd freak. 80, 100, 10. Well, 1.
850.
Diane's glam. 1. Lose 1, and that's enough. Yeah, 8. Yeah,
right.
850, 200, 212. These are some good numbers. I should write these down, and these are winning lottery numbers. I'm telling you right
1,000.
now. 1%. Percentage is a good one. Yeah, maybe 1,000. 30. So yeah, people have different ideas of how many subscribers they would lose that would make them go, oh crap, I may want to rethink what's going on in my channel.
And one weird thing about people, I mean, we're going to get into why people are actually leaving, but one thing that can make them leave, and let's just start and lead with this, is that if you pivot, if you start making content that people did not sign up for, I've unsubscribed from many channels. I subscribe for one particular type of content, and then they start doing something else. I'm like, okay, I don't mind a video. I don't even mind 2 videos. But if it's starting to become a regular thing, I'm like, hey, that's not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
And I will unsubscribe. So stay on course.
Well, here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. When we talk about perspective, this might shock some of you guys in the chat room. I lose no less than 1,600 subscribers a month. And I can show you the data. Here's the last.
Let's see it.
Let me share a screen up here. This is my data from the last 30 days. The overall subscribers that I gained was 10,233. The amount of subscribers that chose to bail was 1,656, leaving me with a net gain of 8,577 subscribers. Now, there's an interesting way to look at things, D. Does it matter? Does it matter my channel size and the way I'm shedding subscribers? Do you think that a larger channel is expected to shed more subscribers? Do you think that maybe just because a channel is small, if they lose one, it just feels like if you only have 2 and you lose 1, it's like, oh crap, I just lost half my audience.
Right.
And the only one other person left is my brother, who happens to be subscribed too. So like losing 1,600 to me is like, oh, I'm cool with that. That's what I'm used to living. If that started jumping up to 18, 2,000, 2,500 for my channel size, which it'll grow, it grows every month. I know, depending on the amount I'm gaining overall, I know people are going to just choose to, for a variety of reasons, to shed. But I do think that sometimes when you're small, you go, man, I lost 10. What's going on? What's wrong? And a lot of times what that is just part of the cycle, that happens on YouTube. Why? Let me just ask you straight out, D. Why do subs leave channels? Why do they unsubscribe?
There's a couple of different reasons. One that I already mentioned is that the channel might be going in a new direction. That will cause me to unsubscribe to a channel. Another thing that could happen is you've all heard of the purge, the YouTube purge, and that's where YouTube will delete spam accounts. They delete spam accounts, and you'll wake up and you're like, wow, I just lost a bunch of subscribers overnight. I know you've seen this on Facebook. You've seen it on Twitter. People are freaking out.
Stay here for a minute. Don't leave.
Yep.
This is something I don't think that people talk about. They go spam accounts. Why are there spam accounts? Why are people subscribing to my channel that are spam accounts? Like, what is the point of a spam account? And why are they even there in the first place? And why does YouTube allow it? And why are they tricking us like that, getting our hopes up with our subscriber count only to have the rug pulled out from under us?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of different types of spam accounts. One of them, and a lot of you in the chat right now have, and by the way, type in yes if this has happened to you. You've probably seen chat bots or comment bots like Tom, or recently they're female and they're adding a bunch of heart emojis, and you publish a video and within seconds they're there leaving comments. Those are spam accounts. Other spam accounts are sub for sub accounts. I'm going to say that again. Other spam accounts are sub for sub accounts. What happens is if your channel ends up getting reported, because if you're doing sub for sub and you're coming around and you're leaving comments under my video and you're leaving comments under Daniel's video and you leave comments under Andrew Cans and my brother's Nick's and, hey, sub for sub, I reply fast, whatever, we have the ability to report you as spam. And when you get reported too much to YouTube, you become a spam account. And when they do a purge, your channel disappears. So.
Yep. And let me stay here for a minute, because I want to explain something to some other people. Sometimes you'll see these people that will show up on your your channel and they'll subscribe, and you go like, oh, this person subscribed, and all of a sudden you're like, well, why? They're not doing sub for sub. They're leaving comments like, really good content like your video. Another thing you have to understand is that YouTube is a platform based on ad revenue and revenue sharing. A lot of entities out there do a couple of different things. One, they're trying to figure out how to beat the system. They're trying to figure out how to get a lot of subscribers and views so that they can begin to drive revenue. So what they'll do is they're always trying to create these bots that they can send to get views on channels that they're trying to make it look like have more views and more watch time. And part of making those bots seem real is to send them out across the universe and the platform of YouTube and have them interact with other channels under the thinking that, well, that will fool YouTube into thinking these are real people. YouTube is much smarter than that, and it starts recognizing these patterns quickly. So you'll see these bots out there that really, they're on your channel for no other purpose than to help convince YouTube they're real people. You're just a sucker in their game, so that then those companies can either try to promote a channel of their own that they're trying to drive views to, or they're on the, you'll see them on whatever, Fiverr or whatever else. Hey, well, pay us X amount of money and we can get you 1,000 subscribers and 1,000 views in, 24 hours. Well, that's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. These bot accounts and these spam accounts, they're using just to go out there and inflate people's numbers, which is completely against YouTube's terms of service. And YouTube knows how to figure them out really quickly. So when they gather them up and they put a rake through and pull them all out, channels like us get hit with that. Oh my God, today we all lost a bunch of subscribers because they pulled out these accounts that were just doing that. Does that even matter? Is that a good thing, D, that those are pulled out? Does that hurt us or help us in the long run?
No, I think it's great. Here's what I think. Even though you lose 1,600 subscribers, and even though I lose an insane amount of subscribers as well, and we get purges and those subscribers go away, I think a great way to look at that is that you're tightening your tribe.
Yeah.
Right. You're getting rid of people who are not interested in your content. You're getting rid of bots, and you're getting more people who are interested in exactly what it is that you're making. You're tightening the tribe. So don't freak out when people leave. Just be happy with the people who stay. Focus on them, and focus on getting new people and introducing them to your tribe, to your community.
Okay. Well, another thing that, and I bet some of you guys in the chat have seen this happen, and people are watching the replay. Sometimes you go onto YouTube and you'll open up like the mobile app, and it'll tell you have one number of subscribers, and then you'll go to like the YouTube Studio on your desktop. It'll tell you another number of subscribers. Then you pull up your channel on in another window, and it's got a completely different number of subscribers. So, how are we even supposed to know how many subscribers we have? Why would those numbers even be different, D?
It's just how they release data. I don't think there's been an official information dump on that in terms of why exactly. It's probably, in terms of mobile apps, it probably has something to do with the API, I'm guessing. I don't worry too much about that. I just look at it, and I know if you have 10 subscribers and it's, 3 different here, 5 different here, that's a big deal. But it's really not. They catch up. They catch up.
So it's just reporting how long it takes to filter them all together and get the actual accurate number.
Right.
And you're right. I guess
that's
if you're
how I
like,
take it. Yeah.
if you go like, oh man, I'm up to 220 subscribers, and you open up another window and go, I'm at 197. Guy, I wanted to beat 200. That can be disappointing.
Right. Yeah.
I hear that.
I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's just reporting.
You know where I lose, D? You know where I lose a lot of subscribers? Take a wild guess.
You mean in terms of the content choices?
Yeah, content choices. Which things that I put up that I go and I'll see negative numbers?
Probably anything that's not Filmora based.
True. You know what? Exactly what we're doing now. Live streams are a place where I look, and if I have a live stream that gains 12 subscribers, where I'll have videos that'll gain thousands, I'm like, oh, thank the dear lords of YouTube that I gained 12 and not -4. Have you ever experienced that during live streams? You look at the replay and you go, man, I lost subscribers during this live stream.
Yes. Almost every single live stream, I lose subscribers. And I know because I do live streams with my brother for Nim and Live. Well, we haven't done that in about 7 months now because we've been separated. But I know he also loses on most live streams a good amount of subscribers as well. And Daniel, I know you do too, for multiple reasons. And one of those reasons could be they don't get the attention that they thought they were going to get when they come into the live chat. Maybe we didn't answer their question, or we didn't answer it with a question that they liked. Or maybe they were acting up and one of the moderators had to silence them or even kick them out of the chat. There's a lot of different reasons why people will unsubscribe during a live stream. But again, see ya.
Yeah, that is.
If you're not on board with what's happening here, or you can't follow the rules and the mods have to get rid of you, then you're obviously not part of this community. You're not part of what's happening here.
It definitely is so interactive. Exactly what we're doing here. We're looking at the chat. We're talking about the things that people want to hear about. It's very easy to feel he ignored me. I asked a question and he didn't answer it. I'm unsubscribing. So it is a very quick reaction, where in a video, you don't get that, right? If they're watching something we had created and edited and put out there, they're not going to feel like, if they ask a question in the comments and maybe we don't answer, maybe they'll feel that way. But in the chat, it's easy to get someone to feel offended or ignored.
So this is a really interesting comment. So Nick, my brother Nick, is in the chat right now.
Hey, Nick.
He created a new clips channel where he's taking parts, highlights of his live streams, and he's putting them into video format on his second channel. Go check that out if you haven't done so already. But here's the thing. He says he's actually picking those views and I'm guessing subscribers back up on the Clips channel. So while he might be losing them on one, he's going to be gaining more by turning them into videos for replay, put them on the Clips channel. So
that's awesome.
Clever move as usual.
That's that recycling, repurposing.
Yeah.
You brought that's
Clever move.
Nick, could you please not do so much? You're making the rest of us look lazy.
Right?
Slow it down, mister.
Slow it down, man.
Steamrolling towards 1 million subscribers. Speaking of subscribers, Nick, congratulations. Past 700,000 now.
Yeah,
He's
man.
just crushing it. Yeah. Well, someone has to.
Yeah. YouTube takes his calls. They don't answer mine. They take his. Yeah.
All right. You mentioned something before, and I want to go back to it for a second because I think it gets mentioned a lot when people get wrapped up in trying to gain subscribers. Is there good ways? I know there is. There's good ways and there's bad ways to gain subscribers. And I think the most common one that small channels start talking about is they get sucked right into what they call sub for sub, right? Like, hey, listen, you go into someone's channel and you go, listen, I'll subscribe to your channel if you subscribe to my channel, and then we'll, grow together. And there's this whole strategy behind it. What are your thoughts on that, D?
The term "grow together" just makes the hair on my back stand up.
Which is the only place you have hair anyway.
Which is the only place I have hair. Little fun fact right there. Yeah. So here's what happens, and we've touched on this before. So I'm just gonna quickly run through this for people who have just started YouTube and maybe you're doing sub for sub because you need to stop. Here's what happens in a nutshell. Hey Daniel, you subscribe to my channel. I'll subscribe to yours, and I promise I'll watch your videos. What happens is, okay, yeah, you might get somebody to watch one of your videos. They might even watch two. But generally what happens is they're not going to continue to watch your videos. They're going to click on your video. They're going to give you that click. You get that fake little view count there, but then they stop watching your video. That is a negative signal to YouTube that says this person or all the people you've subbed with is not interested in this video. In fact, it's so bad, as soon as they click, they left. That murders your audience retention and it kills your video because those are negative signals being sent to YouTube that as people click on this video, they are not interested immediately. So it's a negative signal that you definitely want to avoid at all costs. Sub for sub is killing your channel. You think that you're getting subscriber counts and you think that that's all fine. Woo, I'm gaining subscribers. Yeah, you're getting an inflated vanity number, but in terms of channel momentum, in terms of channel growth, you're killing your channel. Please don't do that. And you can get reported for spam. So
yeah, that's absolutely true. It's against terms of service. I've even seen people try to get around it. Like they won't say sub for sub. They're like, hug me. Let's hug each other in the comments. I'm like, what is that about? And
I'll knock on your door. I'll knock on your door if you knock on mine. Like, here's the thing. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Google has actually mapped the visible universe. Google mapped the visible universe. Google owns YouTube. You're not going to game Google. They mapped the universe.
Yeah, they're not, but they're not going to figure you out.
Right. You're not going to game YouTube.
That's crazy.
Not going to happen.
And because I've seen things like this, I've seen people do these things where it's like these live streams where whole groups of these people who have these groups, like someone will live stream, let's go over to their channel. And they're all hanging out and live streaming. Nothing's happening. They're just hanging out, and they'll hang out for 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and then they'll go, okay, let's all go to your channel next. And they all swarm like birds migrating, thinking this is going to do it. See, it's not just subscribers. We're all going to go hang out in someone else's live stream. And that is going to see, now we've got watch time. And they think that somehow that's going to change the dynamic. But exactly like you said, YouTube isn't watching those viewers for just that moment. They're watching viewers over a very long period of time. So unless those people are coming to your channel every single day, engaging, sharing your content, leaving comments, watching, not just in swarms, which YouTube can spot, like they all went here, they all went here, they all went here. Those viewers have to go and they have to really like your channel and watch it on their own and spend time on their own, different times of the day, and go, yeah, man, I really, and engage with the content, which is a much trickier thing to have happen. And nobody's interested in doing that because you sign up for one of these sub for sub groups and you've got 1,000 channels in there. Who's got time to watch a 5-minute video from 1,000 channels? It's like, it's a full-time job. You're like, I can't do this every single day.
Right. Instead, why don't you spend your time learning how to make good videos?
Imagine that. You mean
Right,
work
yeah.
smarter, not harder?
Right. Well, again, it's that focus thing, right? When you're focusing on the wrong things, you're focusing on a vanity number. You're focusing on how can I get subs fast. You're focusing on, how do I grow faster? You're focusing on this stuff. Look, focus everything on being able to make videos that people watch for a long time. Focus on, how to make great thumbnails that get clicked. Like, just focus on those things, and I promise you will never have to worry about subscribers.
Yeah.
You'll never have to worry about that number.
Our Destinations just said in the chat, like, yep, I got caught up in a group like that. You're not alone, my friend. I think a lot of people, because you come to YouTube and because it's, I always talk about coming to YouTube as a new subscriber is a bit like being overweight and starting a diet. And trust me, I know a lot about this. I'm speaking from experience here. And it's like, if you think that you can just do it for a short period of time and you're going to hit that goal out of the blue, it just doesn't happen that way. It takes a lot of time of repeating these things that you may not see these immediate successes that you have to do over a much longer period of time. Like if you go, I've made this analogy a bunch where it's like people will come to me and they'll say, I don't understand, Daniel. I do everything you say I'm supposed to do. I do all the things you mentioned, which usually they don't. But it's a bit like someone saying, you know what, I eat the right food, I exercise, I drink plenty of water, I do everything right, but I still haven't lost the weight I want. Well, how long have you been doing it? A week. It's like, it's going to take a lot longer. Now, if you had 2 pounds to lose, maybe. If you only wanted to gain 2 subscribers, maybe you'd gain 2 subscribers in a week. But if you're looking for those big gains, it's going to take a lot longer. You got to actually get in there and do the work consistently, week after week, focusing on the audience and really trying to connect with them with content instead of just looking at the audience and saying, subscribe to me, subscribe to me, subscribe to me, because you got to give them a reason to subscribe. There has to be a reason that they want to be subscribed.
This is key. This is key right here. And that brings us right along to your C to A, or your call to action, right? And so many people have a channel and they'll say things like, hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And okay, that's good. That works to some degree. But when you give people a reason to subscribe to your channel, that changes things. For example, and I use this example all the time during my live streams. My channel is helping mobile content creators, mobile live streamers, mobile YouTubers. Okay, so let's say I make a video where I teach people how to live stream with their iPhone. I know that they clicked on a video, how to live stream with your iPhone. So my call to action isn't going to be, hey guys, remember to subscribe to my channel. Thanks. Have a good day. My call to action is going to be, if you want to learn how to or if you want to learn even more tips and tricks that can help you become a better live streamer with your iPhone, hit the subscribe button followed by the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos that will make you a better live streamer. Right?
That's a great piece of advice.
Right? Put a little bit of sales, a little sales magic in there. Tell them what they're going to get when they subscribe. And the same thing works for any sort of engagement that you're asking for. Comments, like, shares. Give them a reason why they need to do that.
Well, that's a big thing right there, right? Like, why? Let's think about that. Why would, if people, we kind of talked about why people might unsubscribe, right? A bit. There's a few reasons, because if you change your content, if they lose interest, maybe they were subscribed to your channel because maybe they subscribed to a channel like mine to learn about Filmora. I was doing Filmora tutorials, and either I stopped making Filmora tutorials as much, or they had learned everything they needed to learn to get them going, and they went, I like Daniel, but I learned what I need to learn. I'm going to move on to some other, or they change software. There can be a million positive reasons that someone doesn't dislike you. They just want, I've got all these different things that get served to me based on subscription. I'm just trying to thin I'm trying to thin the excess. I'm trying not to be a subscribe hoarder. I just want to subscribe to channels that I can quickly interact with and the ones that are important to me right now. The same way anything in life. You don't own the same car your whole life. You don't always live in the same home all your life. You don't wear the same clothes every day. Well, D does, because he's trapped in New Mexico and only has 3 changes of clothes. But I mean, in Mexico. So one of the things you want to think about is, like giving people a reason to subscribe. I always say subscribers is when people choose to subscribe, one of the reasons is it's kind of like a bookmark. Like if they find your channel and they see something that they like and they go, oh, there's more here. There's more here that I would like to look at, but I'm definitely not going to see it all today. Let me just put a bookmark here. I'm going to subscribe and go, there we go. I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that. And now they've got it in a list that they can easily go, what was that channel I watched the other day?
Right.
And they can quickly find that channel. By just checking their, they're now subscribed. They can go, let me check my subscription feed. Oh, there it is. It's D Nim, and I wanted to learn more about how to use my mobile device to create content.
So real quick about the call to action that I talked about earlier. It's great to put that stuff in there, test it, see how it does for you, but nothing is going to get someone to subscribe faster than making them, I'm going to use the word satisfied again, satisfy the viewer. If you make a video that somebody enjoys, somebody is satisfied when that video's over, or they've gotten, or whatever they've received from that video, maybe they didn't even make it to the end, but they got enough from the video. And they're like, you know what? I like this channel. I like this creator. I like the information. I'm subscribing. Like a great video is going to do more than anything else that you could possibly ever think of, including trying to buy ads to drive people.
Well, stay there for a second. We've seen people ask that question. Does buying ads and running ads help grow a channel? Is that something that we can gain subscribers from?
Well, here's something to think about. If you are currently making content that people are not responding to, then you can throw all the money you want at it, and people are still not going to respond to that content. Now, if you're just getting started and YouTube doesn't have enough data on your channel yet, that could be one reason why you're not actually growing, because people can't respond to you if people don't know that you exist. Generally speaking, though, we see a lot of channels that just their content just isn't that good yet because they haven't built those skills up yet to make good content, and they're trying to throw money at it.
Right.
And that doesn't work.
So
now,
solving the fact that you don't have subscribers yet by trying to force them, like I'll force it down their throat.
Right.
That's not a good strategy.
Right. But on the flip side, if you have great content, people are responding to it, and you have something maybe you have a course that you want to bring attention to, then it makes sense to do that because you've already understand what your audience needs and you know how to connect with the people who are watching your videos.
Yeah. I've always said, you know what, that you'll never get the kind of the kind of exposure that from ads that you'll get from when YouTube actually discovers the right connection between your videos and the audience you're trying to reach. If you start showing them that the audience you're trying to reach is connecting with your content, and YouTube sees that and they start recommending your content themselves, forget ads. YouTube itself will do it for free. They'll put your content into recommendations such as suggested along the side or on the up next at the end of the video. They'll put it in browse in people's notification feed. They'll put it on their homepage. They'll put it, that's the places where you can really start getting your content recommended. And that's explosive kind of growth if it really starts snowballing. And that really comes down to, did the people enjoy watching your content? So like Dee was saying, that value point means so much more to gain subscribers. People will subscribe if they see your content and go, I love this. I want to see more of this. I'm clicking. I'm in. If they watch a little bit and go, it's not so great, they're probably not going to subscribe. If you had one great video that was one thing and they loved it, and then you made 7 other videos afterwards, they keep getting notifications, they watch a little and go, I'm not loving this. It's not doing what I wanted, or it's not on the same target. Maybe your channel switched focuses, or you're making videos about all kinds of things, and you made a video one week about one thing, and the next week it's completely different. The people are getting served these in notifications and going, I don't want this notification. I don't want to watch this. So instead of just ignoring, a lot of times they go, let me just unsubscribe so I don't get these notifications anymore. And that power is all in your hands to control that ebb and flow of bringing new subscribers in, while you may still be shedding some, but trying to make sure that you're bringing in more than are actually leaving at any given point.
Daniel, I have 2 questions. I have one for you and one for all the viewers in the chat right now. The first question I'm going to ask you, Daniel, is how many restaurants do you return to if you don't like the food?
0. No, well, let me rephrase that. To be fair, if I go into a restaurant and I go, listen, I think there was really something awesome here, that they had a bad night. And I guess that's probably true of content too, right? If you really liked the guy, the person who was presenting it, but the topic was not great. Sometimes I'll give them one more chance, but I'll tell you what, never more than twice. Never more than twice. If I keep getting a bad experience, I'm done.
Okay. Now, for everybody in the chat right now, because we're talking about And this question gets asked all the time: can I buy ads to get people to my channel? For everybody in the chat right now, there's 222 people in here right now. Just yes or no. Have you ever clicked on an ad on YouTube? I know some of you have. I have as well. I'm just curious how many people just skip over them and how many people don't click and they're just waiting to get to the content or skip through the video. If you've ever clicked on an ad, say yes. If you haven't, say no. I've clicked on ads, but it's not much. To the point that I actually ended up paying for YouTube Premium because I no longer want to see ads at all. But before I had Premium, occasionally I would click on an ad, but it's rare.
Here in the chat, I'm just reading some of these. Dole Whip Dad said, but never a third time. Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. Never a third time. It's second chance sometimes, but we're looking at people. I'm getting a lot of, there's some yeses, people watching them, but I'm seeing a lot of no, never, yes, a lot, a couple of times. Yes, no, yes. It seems like there's probably a 70% no's, skipped every time, maybe a 5% every now and then there's some, so maybe 20 to 25% definitive yeses. So it looks like the vast majority of people really are kind of like, yeah, I'm not here for the ads. I mean, I guess that's a fair assessment too. I'm not here for the ads. I'm here for the content, right?
Bingo. Every viewer on the platform is there for the content. Yeah. Period. They're not there for your intro. They're not there for the ads. They're there for the content.
And he froze. That was it. That's Dee's outro. I get exactly what Dee was saying. They aren't here for your intro. They're not here for you trying to push them towards, hey, subscribe, you'll really love this. They're not necessarily trying to catch any other portion of anything you're throwing in there for share my video, do all these things. They're really looking for, hey, I just want the content. I want the thing that the packaging said I was going to get when I clicked on the video, right? Is that what we were going, D?
Imagine walking down the cereal aisle at your store and you've got all these amazing boxes of cereal and you finally pick the one that you like because Captain Crunch, right? But okay, how do you pick some cereals sometimes? You look at the covers, right? So you've got your thumbnails. Just like you're going through Netflix looking for the movie to watch. But you're going through the cereal aisle, and there's all these boxes of cereal. You grab a box of cereal that you've never had before, and you take it home. You go, this is going to be so delicious. You open it up, and a bunch of chicken comes out. You would be so disappointed. Right? You would be completely disappointed.
You know how I am about chicken.
I know. That's why.
Ask Ike.
That's why I brought the chicken in there. But the same thing, right? But if that cereal was delicious, you would just keep buying that cereal. Right?
And we've all done that. How many times have you tried like a new flavor of Dorito and went, oh, no. I tried it. And I love Dorito. I'm a Dorito freak. But, kind of classic and Cool Ranch, sometimes the spicy ones, I like because I'm a spicy guy. Yeah. But some of them are like these weird combinations and you go, no. I mean, I love Doritos, but that flavor is not doing it for me whatsoever. And I'll bail on, even if I'm invested in that, and I'll go back and try one of their other chips again that I know I like. But you're right. It's like, it only takes one bad experience for someone to go, nope, I'm all done with that. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm not buying this one again. Not clicking on that again.
So let me, while we're sitting here, so we know what can get them up. Give me a couple ideas, D, for people out here who said, okay, yes, I'm losing some subscribers. Yes, I kind of understand. Yeah, they're not super important, but they do open some things for me in terms of features. And Daniel, you showed me your data that said, as long as you're gaining more than you lose, even if you're losing $1,700 a month, that's okay. As long as you're gaining 10,000 on top of that, it kind of works out that the overall number is you're trying to gain more than you lose. That's kind of normal. So what can some people out there do today, D? What sort of things can someone do to say, all right, you're telling me that I need to sort of engage and get people interested in my content and really try to convince them to subscribe. Are there things other than just making great content? Because I know that's a big one. Make great content that people that serve a target audience, that they get invested in, they're going to want to subscribe. But are there any other little things that we can do along the way to sort of remind these people who we are and compel them to think about subscribing?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, great content is always going to drive subscribers. And we also mentioned the call to action and give them a reason to subscribe. And I'm going to give you another little tip here. When you are doing any sort of a call to action, you're asking people to subscribe, you're asking people to leave a comment or check your description, front load that. Actually, you can put it in a couple different places in your video if you want. It can be something verbal, it can be a graphic that pops up on the screen. But if you look at your audience retention report, a lot of people are going to see that people are leaving, right? The longer the video plays, people are leaving, right? So if you do your call to action, if you've got one call to action and it's important to you and you put that at the end, that means a lot of people are not going to see it. So front load that stuff. Put that stuff at the beginning before people actually start to leave your video. That's one tip that I'll give you in terms of where to put your call to action. You can put it in the beginning. You can put one in the middle. You can put one at the end. You can test it and see which one works best for you. But don't just put it at the end. I see a lot of people making that mistake.
Yeah, and you know what? I think another thing is those call to actions don't always have to be take the train, grind it to a halt, stop, redirect, and go, hey, you should think about subscribing. Try to put it back in gear and get back on topic. Sometimes it's as simple as having an overlay pop up, like while you're talking, hey, don't forget to subscribe, pops up in the corner and says, wow, that's pretty cool. And it's subliminal, like, you know, that sort of whole idea of having subliminal things that go on. Like if we had a Dee and Daniel show up in the corner, it would remind you who we are, right? You know, if I was smart enough to turn that on, then it would sit there and it would tell, you know, it's that little reminder like, oh yeah, I've been liking what I've been doing, and you're seeing it say, hey, don't forget to subscribe. And if it pops up and then goes away somewhere during that video, maybe at a really good part where it's really engaging people, people go, oh yeah, you know what, I'm gonna quickly subscribe. I kind of like this. This is pretty decent. I always say this. Reminding people to subscribe isn't a bad thing as long as you don't overdo it. If you're starting with quality content, how many times have you gone to a live stream? Dee, I do this all the time. And it's people I love. And not till someone reminds me, hey, don't forget to hit the like button, that I go, oh, crap. I'm at like a Nick Nimmin live stream and I didn't hit the like button. Speaking of which, if you're in the chat right now, hit the like button, please. We would appreciate it. But it's because no one reminds you and you go, oh, crap, I totally would have done it if you would just quickly mentioned it. But the quickly mentioned, right? Don't lose steam to push that CTA, the call to action.
Right. Yeah. Almost every live stream I'm in, I forget to hit the like button unless somebody or a moderator or somebody says, hey, don't forget to do this. I'm like, I feel like an idiot now. I'm so rude. I came in, I didn't hit the like.
Yeah. So so CTAs, those call to actions, aren't a bad thing if they're sort of if they feel organic, if they flow with the content, right? I think is that the word? Be organic.
It has to flow. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, hey, I think we've kind of covered some ground here today, and I want to, Dee, I thank you for hanging out with the cold and flu you brought along with you, brother. I appreciate you muscling your way through this stream.
No, my pleasure. I wouldn't miss it for anything. I just want to say, because I know not everybody was here at the beginning, in terms of subscribers, are they important? To a degree, yes, they are important. And some brands even look for channels at a certain subscriber level to reach out to them, to work with them. I think that's a terrible thing for them to do, but that's their business. They can do whatever they want. So it is important to a degree, but that's not what you want to focus on. Focus on watch time, focus on views, focus on building a community, focus on getting people to watch your videos longer, focus on getting a better click-through rate on your thumbnail, focus on learning how to connect with your audience. That's the stuff that matters. Get that stuff in line, you'll never have to worry about subscribers.
And 100%, and I can tell you, and I think Dee will agree, because both he and I really knuckled down into trying to make really strong content and hammer it into the target audience and have it connect. And both of us walked away in the last year with silver play buttons coming from, starting from zero. We started from zero, and in a couple of years, we both got right up to 100,000 subscribers. We're both well past 100,000 subscribers now. I don't even think about that number. I'm always thinking about, how am I doing for views? Are people watching my content? I got to publish again. Oh, I've been so wrapped up in other things. So I can't agree more. Focus on the content, get that stuff out there that's strong and that really connects. And if you're doing it right, people will subscribe. They'll love it. They'll subscribe to be invested for the value and the content that you've served to them.
And if you're joining us late, this will be available for replay probably tomorrow. We are going to have timestamps in this. There's a lot of different reasons why people are unsubscribing to your channel. We covered all of them for those of you who are just joining us. Don't worry too much about it. Just stay focused, keep making great content. Don't worry about your subscribers.
And if you have any questions after the show, Dee and I always come back for the next several days and pay attention to the comments section. Please, down below, if you're here in the replay or when this repost, drop a question down below and we can talk about this more. If there's something specific that we didn't get to that you had questions about when it comes to subscribers, all right? All right, Dee, thank you so much for hanging out. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out. And everybody out in the replay, we appreciate it if you've made it all the way to the end. And thank you most of all to TubeBuddy. If you do not have TubeBuddy installed as a browser plugin, please download TubeBuddy, install it for free today to start growing your channel faster and increasing your workflow. It is the premier browser plugin when it comes to growing a YouTube channel. So thank you very much. We will see you guys in the next episode. Dee, I hope you have a great day and feel better.
Thanks, Daniel. Catch you. Peace.